Much has been made of the conflict between the Georgetown County Treasurer Allison Peteet and the Deputy Auditor Jesse Duncan. From July 1, 2013 until June 30, 2017, both individuals were in my employ. As such, I have a unique vantage point to assess their relationships to me, to my staff, and to each other. The origins of the current conflict have been identified. On August 15, 2017, I wrote a letter to Mrs. Peteet. It was a letter pertaining to a personnel matter. It was my intent to keep it within the county offices. As of last month, the contents have been revealed to this public forum as well as the local media. As such, I must deal with the fallout. Someone must. There are two central issues remaining. One, the contention that Mrs. Peteet's actions towards Mrs. Duncan were racially motivated. And two, that Mrs. Peteet should be removed from office, Mr. Hemingway should be fired, and the county should limit the authority of elected officials. The second issue is completely without merit. Elected officials in Georgetown and every other county answer only to the voters. This emanates from the General Assembly and has been confirmed by the Attorney General, the United States District Court, and the South Carolina Supreme Court. It is settled law. The County Council and the County Administrator have no authority in the matter. Let me repeat that. The County Council and the County Administrator have no authority in the matter. As to the first issue, that is racial discrimination, for the last 3 council meetings, I have been appalled at the discourse I've witnessed and the liberties taken in assessing this conflict. My address this evening is for the sole purpose of establishing truth and promoting justice. As previously mentioned, both Mrs. Peteet and Mrs. Duncan were employed by me in the auditor's office. Mrs. Peteet as the chief clerk, Mrs. Duncan as the deputy auditor. For those 4 years in my employ, they were in constant state of conflict. They did not like each other very much. It had nothing to do with their sex, nothing to do with their religion, and certainly nothing to do with their race. It had everything to do with a substantial personality conflict. Before Mrs. T was classified as racist in public, I would presume that some element of due diligence and or due process would have been exercised. For instance, does she have a history of racial behavior? Were associates of Mrs. Peteet interviewed or questioned about whether they thought she was racist? How about her lifetime friends and associates, her minister or church members, taxpayers or clients with whom he or she has dealt with on a daily basis over the last decade? I doubt that any of those basic investigative steps were undertaken. It is difficult, therefore, to understand how such an allegation could be publicly stated. I personally have spoken with many people, including her staff members, her former associates in the auditor's office, and other employees of Georgetown County who know her. When asked if Mrs. Peteet was racist, to a person each said no. Not I'm not sure, or I don't think so, but no. Each individual also said no one has asked that question of them before. I might add that while she was in my employ, I never witnessed anything close to discrimination, and I witnessed thousands of her interactions. This is what is so appalling about this. The term racist has a very serious stigma attached to it. It's almost like a racial slur. The recipient of that derogatory label has now the impossible task of proving that he or she is not racist. You cannot prove a negative. The burden of proof should not be on the accused, but should be on the accuser. That is how our legal system works. People are not accused until there is ample evidence that the charge has merit. This charge has no merit. Truth and justice have not been served. As God related to Moses on Mount Sinai, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.